What if you could transform your home with stylish, chic decor for just a few bucks? Well, today we are going to be doing some Dollar Tree DIY decor that's going to be budget friendly and fabulous. Now, the first project we're going to do is going to start off with some plates. Now, I love the dishware at the Dollar Tree. They have such a huge variety. They've got glass dishes, they've got ceramic, plastic, you name it, they've got it. We are going to be using a clear glass plate. It is the perfect neutral backdrop. We are actually going to be transforming our plate with some fabric, you guys. Now, I have used this variety pack of fabric that I got at Hobby Lobby a while ago. Already, I've used the blue fabric, I've used the pink fabric, and today we are going to be using this green fabric. Now, if you have a hard time putting colors and designs together, if you buy a variety pack, that will help you out so much because it's already done the hard work for you. You've got the colors to go together, and you can typically buy them for just a few dollars. You might be wondering, how does fabric and a glass plate go hand in hand? Well, let me show you. What you're gonna do is take your plate, you're gonna flip it upside down, get your fabric and put it over the top. I'm going to get a pencil, trace around the perimeter of the plate. Now that I have a template, I'm going to grab some fabric scissors and cut out a circle. Now, fabric is definitely one of the lesser known uses for Mod Podge. When I Mod Podge, I typically use scrapbook paper or wrapping paper. I've even used gift bags. Well, today we're going to be using this fabric. And instead of putting it on top of the plate, we are actually going to be putting it underneath the plate. That way we can still use the plate, we'll still have a smooth surface, and we'll be able to clean it easily. So what I'm going to do is flip my plate over. I got a sponge brush and the Mod Podge. I'm painting on a liberal amount of this Mod Podge to the back of the plate. We want to add a bunch because we want to make sure that our fabric is securely glued to the plate. Next, I take my fabric and I placed it over the Mod Podge. I got my scraper tool and I pressed the fabric firmly to the plate. Fabric is really great for curved surfaces like this because it's malleable and it's not going to crease like a scrapbook paper or a wrapping paper because it bends and molds to the rounded contour. We definitely want to add a top layer of Mod Podge because we want to seal and protect the fabric. So I'm going to just take some more of that Mod Podge in my sponge brush and I'm going to paint over the surface of the fabric. Not only does the Mod Podge seal the fabric, but it will stiffen it up as well. Once again, I'm adding a liberal amount of Mod Podge. I want to make sure that the fabric is completely covered in the Mod Podge. So get it all on there, get along the edges, and make sure it's completely covered. Once the fabric was coated, I let it dry for 2 hours. My circle was not a perfect fit, but that's not a problem. All I did was get my fabric scissors and I trimmed the excess fabric from the plate. In my opinion, it's better to have too much fabric than to be short because you can always cut off the excess. And because the fabric is stiff, you can easily cut the fabric and it won't fray. At this point, you could completely leave this plate as is. It would be a beautiful decor piece. You could display it on a frame stand or a plate stand. You could put it in front of a glass fronted cabinet or on top of a dresser or buffet. It would be perfect. I am so excited to share my latest skincare obsession, and it is the Foreo FAQ 202 silicone LED face mask. Now, the first time I heard about this was a couple of months ago when Natalie tested it out and she's like, "You have got to try this." And I was like, all right, no problem. I'll totally do that because friends share beauty secrets with friends. So I'm sharing this beauty secret with you. This is how it works. You start off with clean, dry skin. You can see I do not have any foundation on, no tinted moisturizer, no powder, no blush. This is my bare skin. So you're then gonna take your mask. You're gonna size it to the size you need, and then you can just place it on. You don't want it too tight, you don't want it too loose, just like that. And you've got places where you can still see, you can still breathe, no problem. You can apply the FAQ primer if you like, and then place the mask on. So once it's secured, you can press the universal power button just to turn it on. And then I'm going to be using the app that's on my phone to scroll through and decide which cycle I want to use. There are 8 LED wavelengths. With the FAQ Swiss app, you can unlock pre-programmed treatments for a customized glow. I can choose whichever one I want. I'm going to pick the red because that's for fine lines and wrinkles. Not saying that's what I have, but you know, just in case. So I'm going to press start. It's got some beautiful music playing. I love how this fits my face perfectly thanks to the Flexi Fit silicone design. It's wireless, so I can move around and do other tasks. I'm not stuck in one location. Once the timer's up, all you need to do is remove the mask. The benefits are amazing. I have soft skin. It's smoother, reduces redness, and minimizes pores. It evens out my skin tone and tackles fine lines. My skin feels rejuvenated and glowy every time. So if you're ready to have your skin glow, then check out the Foreo FAQ 202, as well as a whole bunch of other amazing products that they have on their website. You can also use code Lisa35 for 35% off. And that's on everything, including discounted items up to 50% off. The coupons are stackable. I will leave a link in my description box to their website as well as to this amazing mask. So don't miss out on their birthday deal. Head on over and get one for yourself. We are going to take ours to the next level and turn it into a cake stand. The way that we're going to do that is with another Dollar Tree dish item, and it's going to be a ceramic bowl. I selected a white bowl. That way I don't have to paint it. It's already the color I need. Now this bowl is pretty plain and we want to jazz it up just a little bit, so we're going to add a gold stripe to the bottom. So what I'm gonna need is some blue painter's tape and some gold rub and buff. What I'm gonna do is take the blue painter's tape and I'm going to press it to the bowl. I'm leaving about a 3/4 inch gap at the bottom. I want to make sure that the line is as straight as possible, and you want to press it firmly to the bowl. That way you get a good seal. We're going to be using gold leaf rub and buff to create our stripe. So I squeezed a dime size amount of the rub and buff onto a paper towel. Then I simply just rubbed it onto the exposed area at the bottom of the bowl. I went all the way around the bowl, making sure that the white portion of the bowl was covered in the rub and buff. If you need to, you can go over it a second time to get the level of saturation you want. Once all the rub and buff had been placed on our bowl, I let it dry for about 10 minutes. Then I came back and peeled away the blue painter's tape to reveal our crisp, sharp gold line at the bottom of the bowl. That was such an easy way to create a detail on the bottom of the bowl. So now we've got our bowl with a stripe, we've got our glass plate with fabric on them. Let's attach them together. I'm going to be using some E6000, so I just added the E6000 to the bottom of the bowl, and then I took my plate and I placed it over the top and pressed both of the pieces together. So we got a good seal, and then I let this glue dry overnight. We're getting close to the end, you guys, but we need one more little teeny detail, and that's going to be a ribbon that's going to tie the gold stripe on the bottom and the greenery on the plate together. I have this ribbon that's green, but it's got these beautiful gold threading that's weaved into the ribbon. So I'm going to take this segment of ribbon, wrap it around the bottom of the plate, right where it's attached to the bowl, and then tie the ribbon into a bow. This ribbon is a fabulous transition piece that ties together the gold and the green. It combines them so that our design is cohesive. Plus, who doesn't love a pretty little ribbon on your decor piece? Well, here we go, you guys. How beautiful is our cake stand? I can't believe these items started out in the dish section at the Dollar Tree. This is definitely a one-of-a-kind piece. I absolutely love the way that the fabric looks on our plate, and it's so stiff at the bottom. It's sturdy, it's not gonna go anywhere, and you can still use the top to put some treats on it, some food, some snacks, because we didn't do anything to the top, so it's still usable. We can just wipe it down when we're finished. And then of course we've got the bowl at the bottom with this beautiful stripe. It just adds a touch of elegance to our cake stand. And the bow is just perfect. It just sits right there in the middle, and it is the transition piece that ties everything together. If a cake stand is out of your budget, this will definitely be within your budget, because I spent $1.25 on the plate, $1.25 on the bowl. You could use scrap fabric, you could use leftover gift bags, you could use scrapbook paper. Just rummage around and see what you have and create a beautiful cake stand. Plus, one of the things that I love about items like these is that you can customize them into any decor that you want, color-wise, design-wise, seasonally, and you can definitely do it on a budget. One of the items that you can transform are their candles. I have used their candles in so many of my projects. What I'll do is take the candles and melt down the wax. And then you can create any candle that you want in any kind of heat-safe container. You're going to get a large pot of boiling water and melt the wax. Leave it in there for about 10 to 15 minutes until the wax completely melts. Pull out the wicks and then put them inside the container of your choice, and then pour the melted wax into the container. Then trim the wicks and let the wax solidify, and now I have a custom candle. This candle is one of my favorites. I purchased this gorgeous milk glass container with this gold rim around it at the thrift store, and I just added this melted wax to this container. I have also created some dupe candles. One time I got a glass container. I painted it white on the outside. I added a blue vinyl Greek key design. I added some gold detailing on this container too, and then I filled it up with wax, and we were able to save so much money by duping this candle ourselves. And then of course you can do your seasonal candles. I have done a candle inside of a mini soup tureen before. It had a pretty lid and it was shaped just like a pumpkin. I melted down the wax and I turned this soup tureen into a candle. I can display this in all of my fall decorating and it fits in beautifully. I personally have never seen a pumpkin candle like this, and so creating my own gave me options not only to save money, but to get a unique seasonal piece. You can pick a variety of different colored waxes that they have there, and then you can also scent your wax with essential oils. I've added a few drops of essential oils to add a lovely aroma to my candles, and I've actually seen essential oils at the Dollar Tree, so you can purchase them there as well. So when it comes to customizing your own candle, if you cannot afford to buy one that you absolutely love, you can definitely make one with items from the Dollar Tree. Up next, we are going to completely transform this Dollar Tree candy jar. These are great for decorations. They're also fabulous for storage. The problem with them are they are just so plain and boring. Well, today we are going to completely transform the lid of this candy jar, and we need to start off by pulling off this knob. We do not need it. It comes right off. I just pulled it off. So the only problem now that we pulled the knob off is we've got this little pokey point where the knob was attached to the lid. We've got to get rid of that because we want a flat surface. So what I'm going to do is get my wood burning tool and melt it right off. The plastic is no match for the heat of the wood burning tool, plus it's angled so you can get right underneath that plastic. It came off in a jiffy. And now I've got a flat surface that we can embellish. If you don't have a wood burning tool like this, you could use some either needle nose pliers or some clippers, and that would work as well. Now, because it's springtime, the Dollar Tree has some seasonal dishware out. I have used some of these plastic dishes in a previous project. I used the teal one for a tablescape a couple of weeks ago. This was such a fun tablescape. These plates added a pop of color and a beautiful floral design to my tablescape. Not only do they have the teal ones, but they also have pink ones, and we're actually going to be using these in our next project. And then they also have some purple ones, so they've got a variety of these cute little plates that you can choose from. And there are 6 plates to a package, which is a fabulous deal. What we're going to do is use our teal plate, and we are going to put this over the top of the lid. But before we do that, we've got to fancy it up a little bit, and we're going to do that with a drill. Bet you weren't expecting that. I'm going to get my Athena drill out and a small drill bit, and I'm going to drill holes around the perimeter of the plate. I'm going to drill a hole in each of the scallops along the edge. Make sure that you go slowly, that way you don't break the plate because these plates are not very sturdy. I simply drilled small holes around the perimeter of this plastic plate right in the center of the scallops. Now that our holes have been drilled, we are going to leave them alone for just a minute and focus on the center of the plate. Right in the middle, we've got that circle, and we want to embellish it. We are not using fabric this time. This time we are going to be using some wrapping paper, and this is what's left over. I love this wrapping paper. I've used it in previous projects. It is so pretty. It's this blue color with pink flowers and gold leaves, and this blue tone is going to fit perfectly in with our teal plate. So what I'm going to do is take this wrapping paper, I'm going to place it over the center of our plate. I'm going to press the paper to the plate just a little bit so it gives me an indentation. Then I got my pencil, I traced around the indent, which gave me a template the size of circle that I want. Then I got my scissors, I cut out the gift wrap circle. Just like our fabric, we are going to use some Mod Podge to attach the wrapping paper to the plate. This time I'm going to be using a paintbrush because I want to make sure that we get the Mod Podge just inside the circle, and the paintbrush will give me more control over where that Mod Podge goes. I'm adding a goodly amount of Mod Podge to the plate, and then I took my wrapping paper circle and pressed it into the Mod Podge. I made sure that it was adhered well to the plate. You want to press out all the bubbles that are trapped underneath the paper so that it lays smooth. Then I painted on a top layer of the Mod Podge. I made sure the entire surface of the wrapping paper was completely covered in the Mod Podge. Once the top had been covered, I let it dry for 1 hour. Now it's time to take advantage of the holes that we drilled previously in our plate. We are going to run a line of pearls around the perimeter. I have this package of pearl beads that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. There's 40 to a package, so that's just the right amount. And then also we are going to be using my fishing line. You guys know I love this stuff. It's going to be perfect because you're not going to be able to see how the pearls are attached to the plate. So what I'm going to do is get my fishing line. I'm going to poke it up through one of the holes. I'm going to add 2 pearls to the fishing line, and then I'm going to take the fishing line and I'm going to poke it back through another hole, and then I'm going to run the fishing line backwards through the original hole. That way it doesn't come unraveled. So it's kind of like going in a circle. Then I added 2 more pearl beads to the fishing line, poked it through another hole, back around through the previous hole, and then added 2 more pearl beads. Poked it through the hole, you get the idea. The reason why we're using the fishing line is because if I were to simply hot glue these pearls to the plate, there is a very high likelihood that they would pop off in a matter of minutes. So using the fishing line is a great way that we can secure these pearls to the plate and know that they are not going anywhere. Now I'm just going to continue to add the pearls to the fishing line, poke the fishing line through the holes around the entire perimeter of the plastic plate. This plate is small enough that creating a beaded design on this plate did not take me very long. Once I got back to the beginning, I tied that fishing line into a knot and trimmed off the excess fishing line. I am going to add a little bit of hot glue to the pearls right now because some of them want to droop a little bit, so we want to make sure that they stay in place. So I put a little bit of hot glue under some of the pearls. That way they stayed in a straight line. Do you remember the plain plastic knob that we pulled off at the beginning? Well, we are eventually going to reattach it to our lid, but we can't leave it just as is. We need to change the color. So we're once again going to be using the gold Rub and Buff and a paper towel. I added a dab of the Rub and Buff to the paper towel. I rubbed it all over the knob. I got underneath it and on the sides. Once it was covered in the Rub and Buff, I let it dry for 10 minutes. So while that Rub and Buff is drying, what we're gonna do is get some more ribbon. This ribbon is once again from the Dollar Tree. It's the perfect shade of teal that's gonna fit in perfectly with our plate. And this ribbon also has a scalloped edge, which ties in beautifully with the scalloped edge that we have on our plate. So what I'm gonna do is get some hot glue. I'm going to place it on the perimeter of the lid. I pressed the ribbon to the hot glue, and then I continued to run a line of hot glue along the edge. I pulled my ribbon tightly and then pressed it into the hot glue. I continued to do this around the entire perimeter of the lid. Once I got back to the beginning, I trimmed the ribbon, then added one more dab of hot glue to secure everything in place. If you love home decor, but you also love staying on a budget, then you've come to the right place. I post weekly videos on all things related to the home, interior design, DIYs, decorating, and I try and do it on a budget. So make sure you're subscribed so you can get all kinds of home decorating inspiration. We are now going to attach our beautified plate to our original lid. So I added a whole bunch of hot glue to the lid, then I took my plate and I placed it directly over the center of the lid and pressed it firmly together. So now we've got this beautiful lid that looks so much better than the original plain boring lid. Now it's time to replace the knob. So I added some hot glue to the center of the lid, took our knob and pressed it into the hot glue. Now I can replace my newly updated lid back onto our candy jar. And now we are completely finished transforming our Dollar Tree candy jar into a show-stopping storage piece. You could put so many beautiful things in here. We could put cookies in there. We can also fill it with a variety of different toiletries, lotions, bath salts, whatever we wanted to this candy jar. It is a fabulous blank slate. And because we didn't do anything to the actual jar itself, we can still use it for food. Because we beautified the lid, it looks so fancy. It's a unique alternative to a regular, plain, boring candy jar lid. And we were able to do it with items from the Dollar Tree. We just had to get creative, but now we have a beautiful one-of-a-kind candy jar. Okay, do you remember how I said we were going to be using this pink plate for another project? Well, it's time to do that. It's going to be somewhat similar to what we did with our green plate. We are going to once again drill some holes along the perimeter of this plate. So I got my Athena drill back out. I'm going to use the same drill bit and drill the holes in the center of those scallops. Here's a little disclaimer, you guys. You've got to make sure that you do not press very hard when you're making those holes. I did it and these plates are flimsy and it just kind of like crack-a-lacked. So you've got to make sure that you let that drill bit make those holes very slowly and methodically. That way you don't crack these plastic plates. If you add too much pressure, these plates will crack. So after applying gentle pressure to the plates on each of my holes, I now have a plate that has access points to put in some decorative ribbon. This idea came to me because I have a cake stand that's got some beautiful detailing around the edge, and I have weaved some ribbon through those holes before to customize it to a specific party. So I thought, let's do that to these plates. So we're gonna need some ribbon. I headed over to Hobby Lobby and I found the most perfect ribbon. It's got roses on it. They're pink. They have a variety of different shades of pink actually on here and some green, which is perfect for the spring season. So I'm going to take this ribbon and I'm going to poke it through the holes on our plate. I went up through the hole, across, and back down the next hole. Then I went back up through the hole, across, and then back down, just like we're sewing. You want to make sure that your ribbon is pointed at the end. That way it's easy to poke the ribbon through the hole. These holes are very small, so having a pointed end is so helpful. I threaded this ribbon through the holes around the perimeter of the plate. Once I got back to the beginning, I tied the ribbon into a bow, which is just the cutest way to complete the circle of the ribbon. You could, of course, leave your plate as is. It would be so cute, but we are going to take it to the next level and create another cake stand. This is obviously going to be a mini cake stand, so we need a much smaller base. When I was at the Dollar Tree, I came across these glass votive candle holders. They are the perfect size, the perfect shape, and they come in a package of 4, so you have the ability to make many of these little cake stands. So as much as we love them as is, we are going to paint them, and we're going to do that with some bare gold spray paint. So I took my candle holder outside, I painted around the circumference and on the top of this candle holder. Once everything was completely covered in the paint, I let it dry for 1 hour. Now it's time to attach our plate and our gold base together. And once again, I'm just going to be using some E6000. So I ran a line of E6000 along the bottom of the candle holder and I pressed my 2 pieces together. And then I let them dry overnight. As you can see, my ribbon is hanging far too low. It's dragging on the ground and we don't want that. So I'm going to get my fabric scissors and trim the tails of the ribbon so that they hang beautifully in the front. And that's it. We're done with another fabulous Dollar Tree decor piece. I absolutely love the way that this turned out. How cute are these? And because there were 4 of these candle holders in one package and 6 plates, you could make 4 mini cake stands. You could place them on a buffet. You could add candles to the center of these little cake stands. You could put some cupcakes or cookies. Because once again, we did not do anything to the top, so you can wipe it clean and it is food safe. One other thing that you could do with these things is give them away as gifts. How cute would this be? And customize and personalize if you gave this away as a gift. And of course, you've got to talk about the price. You could make 4 of these for about $2, $3. That's such a great deal. So if you're looking for an affordable decor piece or a gift, these mini cake stands are perfect for you. Let's talk about our Dollar Tree vases. These are such a great blank slate. You can take them in so many different directions and they have such a variety of choices that you can choose from. One of my favorite projects that I did with one of these vases was a fern detail that I added along the outside. What I did was I got a vinyl cutout, I wrapped it around this vase, I got some etching cream, painted it onto the exposed areas, let it sit, removed the vinyl and washed off the etching cream, and I created this one-of-a-kind vase. If you don't have a stencil or a vinyl cutout, what you can use are rubber bands to create a one-of-a-kind design on your vase. I took a whole bunch of rubber bands and I put them on top of the vase. I stacked them on top of each other. I put some diagonally. I made sure there were rubber bands from the top to the bottom of this vase. Then I spray painted it gold. I let the paint dry, then removed the rubber bands. And now I have this gorgeous geometric contemporary vase that was a piece of cake to make. If that's too complicated, I've got a simpler project for you. One time I took some blue painter's tape, I covered up the top of the vase, I spray painted the bottom gold, then I reversed it. I took the blue painter's tape off the top and then I added it to the gold painted area on the bottom and I painted the top with some frosted paint. And I didn't use this as a vase. What I did was I used it for a candle holder. So I just put a battery operated candle inside, and I loved the way that the flicker flame bounced inside and the frosted glass made it look so beautiful. And speaking of candles, one Christmas I took a couple of these, and what I did was, we'll just pretend this is another one. I put them together like this, and I hot glued them together to make a large candlestick. And to cover up the center where everything was glued together, I got some ribbon and some ornaments and botanicals and added that to the center. I made several of these and I put them on my fireplace mantle. Then I filled them with battery operated candles. This holiday fireplace scene was simply magical, and we created it with extremely affordable Dollar Tree vases. Another vase that I've made is this nautical vase for the summertime. I just took some Dollar Tree rope and I hot glued it around the base of this vase. And then I can fill it up with sand or shells, or I can even put a candle in it. And of course, you can put flowers in it to make it a beautiful floral arrangement. And nowadays they have larger vases at the Dollar Tree. They do at mine. So they've got larger ones, they've got the smaller ones, they've got the regular ones that we use all the time. They have vases with curves. They have such a huge variety. And by chance, if something gets ruined or broken, you don't need to feel guilty at all because it was only $1.25. So take advantage of these vases. I know that you can create something beautiful out of them. The Dollar Tree has some dishes out right now, which rotate seasonally. Right now they've got some beautiful spring plates and bowls in a variety of different shades of blues and pinks. And then we've got the old reliables. We've got the white ones, we've got the clear ones, and there are some colorful plates. Today we are going to be using a cobalt blue plate in our first project. I loved the color of this plate. And for those of you that want color in your decor, this is your day. Another gem that I totally overlook when I go to the Dollar Tree is their fabric section. They have a great variety of different kinds of fabric. I found a roll of beautiful teal, orange, and red fabric. It has some beautiful flowers on it and curved shapes. The coloring on this fabric is going to coordinate beautifully with our blue plate. And only $1.25 for a fairly significant amount of fabric is a great deal. So what we're going to do with our fabric is we're actually going to cut around this design. I want to make a lattice. So I'm going to grab some fabric scissors and I'm going to begin cutting around the arabesque design. Once the first row had been cut out, I moved to the middle section. Now to cut out this middle section, what I'm going to do is just fold it like this and then grab my scissors and snip it in the middle, and that will give me an access point so I can get my scissors in there and cut out the center. So I did that with the second row. The third row I left intact, and the fourth row I'm going to clip those centers out once again and cut them out. And then I'm going to leave the fifth row intact, so now I have a beautiful lattice design made out of this fabric. We are going to be putting this fabric over the top of our plate. And we're going to do that with some Mod Podge and a sponge brush. So I took my Mod Podge and I painted it on the center of the plate first. I'm going to add a fair amount. Then I took my fabric and placed it in the Mod Podge. I made sure to center it appropriately, and then I pressed it firmly to the plate. You want to make sure that all the air bubbles that may be trapped under the fabric have been pressed out. That way the fabric adheres well to the plate. I added more Mod Podge to the bottom, then pressed the fabric to the plate, and finally added more Mod Podge to the top of the plate and pressed the fabric into the Mod Podge once again. You can see there's all this extra fabric hanging off the edges. Well, we want to trim that off, and luckily, just cutting along that plate gives me a template, so I know that I'm going to get the exact shape that I need. I trimmed off all the excess fabric so it fit perfectly over the surface of the plate. The reason why I'm cutting the fabric right now is because the plate dips, so it'd be really hard to measure the exact size that I needed. So trimming it afterwards ensures a perfect fit every time. After trimming the fabric, I applied a top layer of Mod Podge, Ensuring both the fabric and the plate were fully coated, I carefully covered the entire surface and the edges of the plate with a Mod Podge for a seamless finish. Once everything was thoroughly coated, I let it dry for an hour. Wow, you guys, check out this plate. Do you know what I love about this plate? Is it's very different than something that we typically do. This is bright and colorful and has almost like a Moroccan feel to it, which I think is so stylish. And can you believe that we crafted this beautiful plate out of items from the Dollar Tree? The plate, the fabric, and you can even buy Mod Podge at the Dollar Tree. I've seen it there too. So you can purchase everything you need to create a custom plate at the Dollar Tree. And customizing it would be fabulous too, because you can pick whichever color of plate or design of fabric that you want. If you wanted to keep it more neutral, you could go with a white plate and a more muted fabric. You could do a seasonal plate. How fun would that be? And get like a seasonal fabric. And then you could display this on your countertop, in your kitchen cabinets, on top of a table. Just get a frame holder and pop it in the frame holder. This chic, budget-friendly masterpiece will elevate any space. This was so easy and affordable, you've got to try this. Have you ever tapped into the magic of the wallpaper at the Dollar Tree? I absolutely love it. And just like the plates, it changes seasonally. So I found some wallpaper there that I have never seen before and I am so excited to use. This chinoiserie bird design wallpaper looks so high-end. I was so excited when I saw it. I actually scooped up 2 pieces of this contact paper. The birds are so detailed and the flowers are simply stunning. It has a beautiful sheen over the top. The colors are fabulous. This was definitely a great find. So now we've got to figure out a way to make our wallpaper stand out and be a focal point. Well, another item that I use all the time at the Dollar Tree are their vases. They have such a huge variety of sizes and shaped vases. My Dollar Tree has the $1, $3, and $5 options, so I chose the largest one that they had. It was only $5, which in my opinion is a great deal for the size and scale of this glass vase. We are going to be covering this vase with our wallpaper. So what I'm going to do first is measure it out. I propped my wallpaper up next to my glass vase. I got a pencil and a ruler. I drew a straight line across the center, and then I grabbed a pair of scissors and cut the paper in half. Now I'm going to remove the backing from the sticker. Then I'm going to take my vase, turn it on its side, and place the contact paper onto the vase and roll it around the perimeter. I'm going to make sure that it's pressed firmly to the glass. You want to press all of the air bubbles out. If you get air bubbles trapped underneath, the paper is going to wrinkle, so press the paper firmly as you go along. Now that the first half of the contact paper is on, let's add the second half. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to line it up right next to my first piece. Then I'm going to once again press the contact paper firmly to the base. I'm not going to remove all of the protective backing from the sticker this time. I'm going to wait until I get back to the beginning. At this point, I can grab my scissors, cut off the excess contact paper, and then press the edges firmly together. And the excess piece still has that protective coating on the back, so I can use it for another project. I did have a teeny tiny bit of excess hanging off the bottom, which is no problem. Just grab your scissors and trim it to size. You guys, isn't this vase stunning? I cannot even tell you how beautiful it is. In person, it's even prettier. It was so easy to do and so affordable. I thought, you know what? I bet you I could look online and find some vases that are similar to mine, and they would be so expensive. And guess what? I was right. I found some exorbitantly priced vases that look so similar to the one that we were able to do. And ours was under $7, which is such a great deal. Again, it's one of those pieces that you can completely customize to your own style, to a season, or to a party theme. So using the wallpaper at the Dollar Tree is such a great decor tip. Another great decor tip is using the flowers from the Dollar Tree. I use them all the time. I use them as filler flowers. So what I'm going to do is get a bunch of roses, and we are going to create a floral arrangement to go inside of our vase. I'm also going to be using some white hydrangea and some pink peonies. So what I did was I took my hydrangea, I bent the stem, I placed them in my vase, and then I took my pink peonies. Once again, I bent the stem, that way it fits perfectly inside of my vase, and then I just intermixed the flowers together. I just twisted them around so that way we had a great variety. And finally, I'm going to take my white roses and place those in the center. Once again, I made sure that these roses were intertwined with the other two types of flowers. That way we don't have a big clump of flowers in one place. And for a final touch, I'm going to grab a couple of stems of gold frosted leaves and place those into the arrangement. You guys, look at this gorgeous floral arrangement. I cannot even tell you how pretty this is. And the star of the show is, of course, this contact paper. I love how it has those vibrant colors, and we infused color into our design in a very classy way. It's not overwhelmingly colorful. We just have some bright pops in the birds and in the flowers, but you can see all this space in between is neutral, so it tones down the color. We have a lot of pattern down at the bottom, so we didn't want our flowers to be too busy as well because it would take away from the beautiful design on our contact paper. The flowers and the contact paper complement each other beautifully. You would never guess that this flower arrangement was originally from the Dollar Tree. This was so easy to do. Any DIY beginner would be able to create this gorgeous vase and a beautiful floral arrangement to go inside. Have you ever thought about turning a simple gift bag into a beautiful piece of framed art? Well, that's what we're going to do for our next project. The Dollar Tree has a huge variety of gift bags there. And just because they're for a baby shower or a wedding or a birthday doesn't mean you can't take advantage of the design that's on it. For instance, this congratulatory gift bag had some beautiful flowers on it, and I was just so inspired by them, and I wanted to use this floral design from the gift bag. So what I'm going to do is disassemble this gift bag. There's a seam on one side, so all I did was pull the bag apart right there at the seam, and then there's seams on the bottom. So I pulled it apart as well, and then I laid it out flat. Now we need a frame to put our art in. Once again, the Dollar Tree has a fabulous selection of frames. They have different sizes and shaped and colored frames. I always find what I need at the Dollar Tree. What I needed this time was a white frame with a gold trim around the outside and the inside. This is a great size, and for $1.25 you can't go wrong. If you're looking for any kind of wood shapes, I tell you, the Dollar Tree's got you covered. So what I found was a wood dragonfly. This wood shape is going to be the centerpiece to our art. Now we can't leave it plain, we've got to give it a little bit of color. So I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to spray it in some gold Rust-Oleum spray paint. I made sure that the surface and the sides were covered in the spray paint. Once everything had been sufficiently coated in the paint, I let it dry for 1 hour. The gift bag has some holes at the top because it's got to have access points so we can put a handle on it. Well, we don't want this excess ribbon, so we've got to remove this. So all I did was just poke the ribbon back through the holes, and then I also cut off the plastic hook where you hang it up on the display rod. While our dragonfly is drying, what we're going to do is remove the back of the frame. I'm going to line it up over our floral design. I got a pencil and traced around the perimeter of the frame backing. Then I got a pair of scissors and cut out this rectangle. Now we are going to hot glue this segment that we cut out from our bag directly onto the back of the frame. So I added hot glue around the outside edge of the frame backing. Then I took my floral segment and I pressed it over the top. Our gold dragonfly is now dry, so I'm just going to add some hot glue to the back of the dragonfly, and then I'm going to press it directly into the center of our floral design. One thing that would have really bothered me was to see the holes where we removed the ribbon handle. We got to cover those up with something. So what we're going to do is head over to the ribbon section, and there I found some gold pearl wrap. What we're going to do with this pearl wrap is we are going to actually cut off one row, and then I'm going to cut these little pearls out individually. Now I can get some hot glue, and I'm going to add a dab of hot glue right over the hole, and then I'm going to take one of these individual pearls and press it into the hot glue. And then I repeated the process with the other hole. I just added hot glue to that one and pressed a singular pearl bead into the hot glue. Now, it would have looked really weird if I would have just had these two little gold dots at the top, so we're gonna have to add a whole bunch more. So that's exactly what I did. I added dabs of hot glue and then pressed the gold pearls into the hot glue. I added these pearls sporadically across the surface of the flowers. I wanted them to be evenly distributed, but have a little bit of whimsy in their placement. I love the additional color, tone, and the detail that these gold pearls add. It gives extra dimension to the surface of our floral art. Now, because we have a 3D dragon, we are not going to be able to replace it back into the original frame. So what we're going to do is just remove the glass from the front, and now we can replace the backing into the frame. And just like that, we've created a one-of-a-kind piece of framed art. How cute is this? It was so easy to create. You would never guess that the flowers originated from a gift bag and that the gold sparkles were from some pearl wrap. Our dragonfly was unfinished, and now it looks so classy, painted gold. We did not spend very much money on this at all. I think it's unique and one of a kind. The way that we turned affordable Dollar Tree items into some framed art is astounding. It's amazing how a little creativity and some budget-friendly items can create unique pieces of home decor. You should definitely give this a try. It's a fantastic way to add a personal touch to your space without spending a fortune. If you like DIY home decor, room transformations, dupes, thrift flips, then you have come to the right place. I post new weekly videos, so make sure you're subscribed so you can get all kinds of home decor inspiration, and be sure to give this video a like. That way I know that you want to see more types of these kinds of videos. For our next project, we are going to head back to the organization section at the Dollar Tree, and there I found a Lazy Susan. Yes, we are going to be using a Lazy Susan in our next DIY. I think that these are so versatile. However, they're about as plain Jane as you can get. It definitely needs to be spruced up. So we are once again going to be using some contact paper. You guys, they have a huge variety of contact paper there. So if you don't want to Mod Podge something on, you can definitely use this. I found this beautiful white and gold geometric pattern paper. Of course, we have our beautiful bird paper that we used earlier, but I was actually rummaging through my stash and I found this paper that I had already used for a different project, and I loved the leaves. I thought they were just so whimsical, and I knew we were going to be able to create something gorgeous from this leaf wallpaper. So what we're going to do is cut around these leaves because we want to get a bit of an organic shape. I'm skimming the edges of the leaves and the branches. You don't need to cut tight to the leaves. Curving your scissors around the edges will give us the soft look that we're going for. You can make your shape as big or as small as you want. I'm going for one large section of leaves. Now that I have my leaf shape cut out, what I'm going to do is remove the protective backing from the sticker. Now you're gonna wanna make sure that you go slow when you do this part because you did all that hard work to cut out this specific shape. You don't want to tear the sticker. So I took some time and went slow and methodically to remove the paper from the sticker. Now I'm going to place my wallpaper leaves in the center of our Lazy Susan. So I just pressed it directly into the center, And then I'm going to curve the sticker up the sides so it can climb up the edges of the Lazy Susan. I thought, how cool is it to have our little leafy vines crawling up the sides? Once again, I made sure that the sticker was pressed firmly to the Lazy Susan to get out any air bubbles because we want our sticker to lay flat. We don't want any bumps or lumps. And how easy was that, you guys? Such a piece of cake. But look at how stunning our gorgeous Lazy Susan looks with this leaf design on it. Of course, you could use this for your spices or your condiments in the fridge, but what I'm going to do with mine is put some pretty perfumes and lotions in the center of this, and then I can put it in my closet or the bathroom. This is a pretty way to display your pretty things. And of course, it's so convenient. All I have to do is just twist it around to get exactly what you want. So that's very helpful as well. And once again, you could completely personalize this to your own specific taste. Up next, let's talk about Dollar Tree frames. I cannot even tell you how many times I have taken advantage of the variety of Dollar Tree frames in all of my decorating. One of my favorite wall decor pieces that I made with Dollar Tree frames is hanging in my office. You guys see it pretty much every single week. It is hanging right above my craft table. It has Dollar Tree frames hanging in front of a giant canvas. And inside these frames are prints from my website. And what I did was I took some fishing line and I tied it to the back of the frames. And then on the opposite side, I tied it to a tack and I pressed those tacks into the frame. And now my pictures can just hover in front of this blank canvas. It is such a unique piece of wall art. I absolutely love it. I wouldn't change anything about it. It definitely is a focal point in that room. I use these frames to display seasonal art. I've done some nautical themes during the summer. I actually created some coral and I took 3 of these Dollar Tree frames and I attached them to a large rectangular piece of wood. This particular print is one of my favorites that I've done. What I did was I got some scrapbook paper and I cut it out and I put it inside the frame, and then I got some Dollar Tree rounds. And what I did was I got a napkin, I cut out some designs from the napkin and I Mod Podged it onto these rounds. And then I just added it to my frame. And now I have a one-of-a-kind piece of art that I can display affordably in my frame. I also did an IKEA dupe where I created some herb and vegetable prints and I put them inside of some black Dollar Tree frames and displayed them in my kitchen. The frames that I used most recently, I turned into some ornaments at Christmas time. I got some Christmas cards and I cut out the pictures. I added them to these smaller gold Dollar Tree frames. I hot glued a ribbon to the back and hung them on my tree. If you enjoy do-it-yourself projects, the Dollar Tree frames are a great base for adding your personal touch. You can easily customize them with paint, embellishments, or other decorations to match your style. And of course, because of the cost, you can swap these out easily. You don't need to do anything permanent. They're only $1.25, which makes them such a great option. Another Dollar Tree frame I use all the time are these lucite frames. These are fantastic for parties. I used these most recently in our bridal shower. I put some pictures of the bride and groom in these Dollar Tree lucite frames and displayed them in different areas of the house so that people could get a glimpse into our couple a little bit better. These are very versatile too. You don't have to just put photos in here. You can put like a recipe card in here. And then I've also used these Dollar Tree frames in my cabinets for a cabinet organization, and they work beautifully as well. To go along with their frames, some other items that I've used at the Dollar Tree to create some wall art are the canvases. I've used the canvases multiple times. My favorite project was when I took a Dollar Tree canvas and I painted it in a navy blue suede paint. Then I hot glued some silver leaves to the canvas and placed them inside of some gorgeous gold frames. So take advantage of those very affordable canvases because those can take your art in any direction as well. And the last item that I have used a few times are those Dollar Tree chopping mats. What I love about these is that they come in a package of 2, so double the fun, right? Double the artwork. So what I have done with them is taken a gold paint pen and wrote a design and a message. For one of the bridal showers I did a few years ago, I took the chopping mat and pressed it inside of some floral foam. Then I added all kinds of flowers to the floral foam. This was a beautiful detail for the shower. You could theme your chopping mat seasonally. You could put whatever message you wanted onto the chopping mat and place it in some floral foam and add any flowers that you wanted. So if you're looking for affordable show-stopping wall art or pieces, the Dollar Tree has fantastic options for you. Cups and plates from the Dollar Tree range in a huge variety of sizes, shapes, and colors. One of my favorite pieces that I have purchased from the Dollar Tree are these glass goblets. They are in this gorgeous shade of green, and I use them all the time in my table decorations. Most recently, I used this for my fall tablescape. It fit in so beautifully with the color scheme that I had going on, and I love that they're unique. You don't often find goblets in a color, especially a color that you like, that is more or less a neutral, so these green goblets are treasures. And to go along with our gorgeous green goblets, I have chargers. The chargers at the Dollar Tree are fantastic. I've got some rustic chargers. I've got chargers that look like they have a paisley design on it. I've got the plain chargers. So affordable, right? I feel like they have different colors and shades that come out all the time. So whenever I'm there, I just pick up a couple and store them because I know I'm going to be able to pull them out and use them for different designs on my tablescapes. And of course, you've got to take advantage of their dishware, like their plates and their mugs. Most recently, we took a Dollar Tree plate and this cute little Dollar Tree mug, and we themed them into Valentine's. I got a Dollar Tree paint marker and I created a design in the shape of a heart. I baked these pieces for a half an hour so that the design became permanent. Now I have a one-of-a-kind plate and mug that I can give away as a gift or display. I did something similar but a little different a while ago. I took some of these Dollar Tree plates and instead of adding a paint marker to it, I had my Cricut Maker cut out a design. It was a beautiful blue floral design. I pressed it to my plates and then I display these plates in my kitchen cabinets. Because these Dollar Tree plates are blank canvases, you can do so much with them. And while these plates are not designer, they are perfect for every day because they are dishwasher safe, they're durable, and of course they are very affordable. Dollar Tree dishes can be a practical and budget-friendly way to enhance your dining experience and add some charm to your tablescape. Of course, the Dollar Tree is fantastic with their seasonal items. So if you're looking to get some seasonal decor on a budget, the Dollar Tree is going to be your best friend. My favorite piece that we made from the Dollar Tree this past Christmas season was hands down my little nutcracker cake stand. So many of you loved it too, and so many of you sent me pictures of your take on this cute little cake stand. I loved seeing your projects. But you guys, this beautiful little nutcracker was from the Dollar Tree. He was in the $5 section, so he was a little more expensive, but still it was so much less expensive than you could have gotten a nutcracker this size anywhere else. So we took our nutcracker, we added a base to him, we put a plate on the top, and then we added some extra embellishments to make him sparkle and shine for the Christmas season. And I absolutely love this, and I know many of you did too. Some other items I got at the Dollar Tree this Christmas season were those reindeer. These were also in the $5 section. I got 2 of them, and I spray painted them gold. I added some extra embellishments to the reindeer, and they were the focal point for the centerpiece on my breakfast table. And all we did was take plain metal reindeer and gave them a makeover. If you came to my house and you saw that centerpiece, you would not be like, oh my gosh, I think those reindeer are from the Dollar Tree. You would say, what a beautiful centerpiece, and you wouldn't think anything else. We used a package of Dollar Tree pearls to create some bow ornaments. I got some floral wire and I threaded these pearls onto the wire. Then I shaped it into a bow shape and hung it on my Christmas trees. These were so beautiful and unique, and I thought they added a pretty little detail to my Christmas trees. I was able to use the leftover pearls from this Dollar Tree package in so many other of my projects for the Christmas time. So we were definitely able to stretch our dollar by purchasing these pearls from the Dollar Tree. Another item that I got at the Dollar Tree that I turned into an ornament were some boxes. These cylindrical boxes were back in the party section. I covered them in wrapping paper. I added a whole bunch of embellishments and created some little drumsticks to go on top and attached wire to the center of the drum so that we could hang these on my tree. Not only did we use these drums to hang on our Christmas tree, but I also used them as little display items to put next to our nutcracker cake stand. And then I also made a nutcracker candlestick, and these drums fit in perfectly with that scene. And then the last ornament that we made out of Dollar Tree items were some bells. Do you guys remember these giant bells that we made out of these plastic garden cloches? I spray painted them gold. I added some lace and some ribbons and then hung bells in the center to create these large scale ornaments for my tree. Once again, they were so affordable, but they made a huge impact. I have also used their wooden leaves for fall. I have etched in some beautiful designs on these wood leaves with my wood burning tool. The Dollar Tree has a huge variety of wood items that you can use throughout the year. You can customize all of these fabulous seasonal items from the Dollar Tree to your own color scheme and season. We have got to talk about the flowers at the Dollar Tree. I use the Dollar Tree flowers in about, I'd say 95% of my floral arrangements. And you guys know how much I love to make flower arrangements. So these are a great filler flower, and I've talked about them being a filler flower before. So what I mean is that when I make a beautiful floral arrangement, I have my centerpiece flowers. These right here are magnolia flowers, are our focal point flowers. They are the star of the show. But we need some supporting characters, and that's where the Dollar Tree flowers come into play. I've got these pink and white flowers that are around our large flowers. They fill up the space, but take a back seat to our more expensive flowers and help them to shine. The Dollar Tree has a huge variety of flowers, and I love that they switch them out seasonally. Right now they've got some pretty Valentine flowers out. They switch them out for the spring, the summer, the fall, the winter. So you can definitely select some flowers that fit in with your style and seasonality. It seems like the brighter the flower is, the less expensive it looks at the Dollar Tree. So my advice to you is if you want to get a flower from the Dollar Tree that looks a little more high-end, keep it neutral, like these pretty roses right here. One item that I really do love that is probably my favorite flower are these dogwood branches and flowers. I get these every single year. I have a huge stash of them right now. And what I do is I use these for the spring. I'll get a large vase or a large ginger jar and I'll add several of these dogwood flowers to these containers. I love how large these are. I mean, for $1.25, you guys, that is definitely a statement flower. You are getting a bang for your buck if you purchase a couple of these. These make such a huge impact and a focal point to the space. And even though we mentioned how I'm going to try really hard to keep my live plants alive, one nice thing about artificial plants is that you don't have to worry about that. You can store them in your closet. You can pull them back out whenever you need them. So artificial flowers are fabulous for decorating. And you've seen how I've bent the stems before, trimmed them. I can pull the tops off, and because they're only $1.25, I'm not too worried about ruining them because I can always go back and purchase some more. So these are also really great experimental flowers that you can play around with. Now, I love these wood shapes that the Dollar Tree has. We're gonna start off with an egg. This is such a great blank canvas. You can go in so many different directions. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cover my wood eggs with some peel and stick wallpaper that is from the Dollar Tree, of course. Now, they have such a wide variety of peel and stick wallpaper options. This branch and blossoming flower design with a light sage background is perfect. Not only is it beautiful, but it's perfect for spring. I'm going to take my wood egg and I'm going to put it over the back of the peel and stick wallpaper. I got a pencil and I traced around the wood egg. Then I got a pair of scissors and I cut out the shape. Now this is what is left of mine, but what you're gonna wanna do is just peel this back part right off. There's some little perforated edges, so it just comes right off. Can you see that? So remove the protective backing and then I place the sticky side over the top of my surface. I placed the wallpaper on the first side and then pressed it firmly to the wood egg. I flipped it over, removed the backing, and then placed the wallpaper over the back side of the egg. I'm going to be decorating a total of 4 eggs, so I need 8 of these wallpaper shapes. The reason why I'm adding the wallpaper to the front and back of each of the wood eggs is because I want both sides decorated. We are going to be hanging these eventually, and if they twist around, you want to make sure that both sides look nice and pretty. I had a bit of an overhang, and if that happens to you, all you need to do is get a pair of scissors and just trim around it. That way you get a perfect fit. One thing that makes your decorations and decor look high-end is the attention to detail. Now, if you look at the exposed edges on the egg right now, you can see that the wood is unfinished and we don't want our final product to look unfinished. So what I'm gonna do is get a Dollar Tree gold paint pen and I'm going to color in those exposed edges. I simply drew a gold line around the perimeter of the entire egg. The circumference of all these eggs look clean and sharp and looks so much better than if I would have left them raw and unfinished. I want to add a satin ribbon to the center of our eggs because decorative eggs oftentimes have pretty little stripes in the center. So what I'm going to do is get a sage satin ribbon. This is thin and I purchased it at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to add hot glue to the back side of the egg, take the end of the ribbon, press it into the hot glue, and then wrap the ribbon around the entire egg. Once it got back to the beginning, I added more hot glue and then trimmed off the excess ribbon. I continued to do this with all 4 of my eggs. I simply just hot glued the ribbon to the back, wrapped it around the egg, and hot glued it again at the starting point and then trimmed off the excess ribbon. The additional dimension and detail is a beautiful addition to each one of these eggs. To fancy up these eggs even more, I'm going to be using some pearl trim. This is also from Hobby Lobby. And what I'm going to do is just hot glue the end of this pearl trim to the bottom of the egg. Then I ran a line of hot glue around the entire perimeter of the egg. I pressed the pearl trim into the hot glue. You may be wondering, well, why did we color it gold if we just were going to cover it up? Well, you can still see that perimeter of the wood egg. So by coloring it gold before we put the pearl trim on it, we ensure that if you can see through the pearl trim, you're not going to see raw wood. You're going to see a pretty gold line. Once I got back to the beginning, I trimmed the excess trim and then hot glued it into place. I repeated this process on all 4 of my eggs. I just added hot glue to the bottom of the egg, pressed that pearl trim into the hot glue, and went around the entire perimeter of the egg. Again, once I got back to the beginning, I trimmed the pearl trim and hot glued it into place. This pearl trim really finishes off the look of this egg. I love how it adds that pretty dimension along the outer edge. It looks classy and beautiful. I think that the gold underlay with a beautiful pearl trim over the top adds a pretty touch to our eggs. To coordinate with the pearl trim, I'm going to add a few more pearls to the center of the ribbon. These pearls are also from the Dollar Tree. I actually use them to create some ornaments at Christmas time. I had some left over, so we're going to add these beautiful pearls to the ribbon. All I did was hot glue 1 pearl to the center and then 1 pearl to one side and 1 pearl to the other. I tried to keep them as equally spread out as possible. Once I was finished with my first egg, I moved on and I added 3 pearls to each of the additional eggs. I love how these pearls coordinate so beautifully with the pearl trim around the edge. This is an elegant touch that enhances the overall look of the egg, but isn't too busy and does not feel overdone. Now we need to re-poke the hole in the top of the eggs. What I'm going to use is the nozzle that comes with the E6000. It's the perfect size. So all I did was just press that wallpaper again really tightly against the wood egg, and you can see the indentation of where the original hole was. Then I took my little nozzle and I poked it through to recreate that hole. Do you know what we haven't used in a very long time is fishing line. I love fishing line. It's one of my favorite design tricks of the trade. So I just took a segment of this fishing line, poked it through the hole on each of the ornaments, and then tied the fishing line into a knot. Now our pretty little egg ornaments are done. Aren't those just stunning? I love the way that the wallpaper looks on the surface of this wood egg. It was so much easier to put this pill and stick wallpaper on than to paint it or stain it. It just was a piece of cake. And I love the unique design that the wallpaper adds. The ribbon is a beautiful addition. And of course, we've got the pearl edging and the pearls on the ribbon. We took a very blank slate and made it classy, unique, and one of a kind. Now, I'm going to take our eggs and we're just going to put them off to the side right now because we're going to hang them up on something that we are going to create in just a minute. But you guys, do not skip the wood shapes at the Dollar Tree. They are so versatile. I've used some wood bunnies in the past. I took some blue scrapbook paper, I Mod Podged that to the top of the bunny, and then I added a pretty little lace collar to the bunny and a pearl tail. If you like affordable decor, DIY projects, or seasonal decorating, then you have come to the right spot. I post weekly videos on all things related to the home. I've got so many fun upcoming projects in the works, so make sure you're subscribed so you can come along on that journey with me. Last week, we made this beautiful votive candle holder with these wood bunnies that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. They are so cute, and they finish off the bottom of this votive candle holder so beautifully. I love how they've got these cute little cottontails. I didn't do anything to mine, but you could definitely get creative and embellish these to fit in with your specific spring decor or color scheme. Another wood item that I used in past spring decor from the Dollar Tree were these little wood birdhouses. I embellished mine, I added some beautiful trim to it, and definitely made it my own. So if you're looking for an affordable way to create some custom decor for spring, the wood shapes of the Dollar Tree are fantastic. All right, now let's move on and create something that we can hang our wood eggs on. What I'm gonna start out with are a gorgeous ceramic urn. I typically leave this urn right back there on the center island in my kitchen. I actually have 2 of these, you guys, and I purchased them online from Lowe's. You guys, Lowe's has some really great stuff. So this beautiful urn is going to be the container for a flower arrangement. I'm going to remove the lid from our container, and then I'm going to create a tape grid. So I got some Scotch tape and I ran a few lines of Scotch tape vertically and a few lines of Scotch tape horizontally over the opening of our container. The flowers that we are going to use for our arrangement are predominantly going to be these dogwood flowers that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. These are some of my favorite Dollar Tree flowers. I get them every year. I stock up. For the size and the price of these, you really do get a big bang for your buck. So we've got some dogwood flowers. I also have some stems of beautiful sage leaves, which are going to coordinate so nicely with the wallpaper that's on our eggs. And then I've got some pink flowers. So what I'm gonna do is just add all of these flowers and branches to the tape grid. I took the smaller pink florals and put those down in the front. This is such an easy and beautiful floral arrangement. It came together in a matter of seconds, but it looks so impressive. Now I'm going to take my 4 wood ornament eggs and hang those on the flowers and branches. I'm going to place them at varying different heights in different locations. I'm going to spread them out as equally as I can because we don't want them to be bunched in one spot. These ornaments add a whole lot of interest and dimension to our floral arrangement. And now we're done. I've got to stand all the way back here so you guys can see this. Look at how beautiful our spring floral arrangement looks with our hanging wood eggs. It is so impressive because of its size. It looks stunning, high-end, and very expensive. It was very cost-efficient to create these egg ornaments out of the Dollar Tree wood eggs. And of course, our pretty little dogwood flowers and the pink flowers and the sage leaves are so gorgeous and perfect to theme this arrangement into spring. Okay, I'm going to put this down because I'm going to poke my eye out if I don't, so I'm going to put it right here. But what makes this arrangement so high-end and expensive looking is, number one, this container. By selecting a higher end container and then using the less expensive flowers, definitely cuts down on cost, but it makes the overall feel of this arrangement look expensive and high-end. Another thing that makes this floral arrangement look expensive is the size, because a lot of times we equate size with expense. Little do people know that these dogwood flowers are from the Dollar Tree and that I use them almost every spring. Last year, I used these dogwood flowers in a centerpiece that I put on my kitchen island. What I did was I got a blue and white ginger jar. I removed the lid and I added the dogwood flowers to this ginger jar. Having such a substantial arrangement on the island in my kitchen made it look so fancy and so high-end. Many of you have asked me where my favorite place to buy affordable flowers are, and here are my top 3. The first is Hobby Lobby because you can wait until they are on sale. I buy mine at 40% off. I have a really hard time ever paying full price for flowers at Hobby Lobby. So that's number 1. Number 2 is Michael's. I buy so many flowers there that are on clearance. I just wait until that particular holiday is over and then I buy my flowers off season. So they have some high quality ones that you can get for an affordable price. And then of course, we've got our Dollar Tree flowers. And I've mentioned this before that they are fantastic filler flowers. So I buy them there as well. I used these pink Dollar Tree flowers to create a spring arrangement. I added a nest to this arrangement with a little bird. And then I've also used some yellow flowers that I purchased for a pretty little yellow floral arrangement. I took some Dollar Tree eggs and I added those to some wood skewers to create my own picks for this pretty little spring floral arrangement. Another one of my all-time favorite floral arrangements was not only beautiful, but very tasty. I took some yellow peeps and some Hershey Kisses and placed these tasty treats in a container that had another container that was inside so that the candy would stay upright and in place. And then in the center of that center container, I added a beautiful floral arrangement that coordinated with my candy. It was such a fun flower arrangement to make and everybody loved it. Another very popular item that I get every single year are these Dollar Tree carrots. I always pick up at least a package or 2. One year I used these carrots in a floral arrangement. Again, it was another one of those container within a container flower arrangements. And what I did with that vacant space that was between the containers was I got some raffia and I added that in that space, and then I tucked these little carrots right into the raffia. They looked so fantastic along the perimeter, and then I created a lovely spring floral arrangement to go in the inner container. These are also a very blank canvas. If you wanted to, you could paint these. I painted them white before, so you don't have to leave them as is. You could even get some extra yarn and like rewrap them. So these are also a very versatile spring decor piece that you can use in your decorating. Of course, we've got to talk about our pretty egg floral arrangement that we made a couple of weeks ago. This egg is from the Dollar Tree and it came in a variety of different colors. I chose this gold egg, and then I took my wood burning tool and I cut off the top. So now we have this cute little cracked egg topper that goes right onto our floral arrangement. I Mod Podged on some wrapping paper flowers, and then I added some of these gorgeous pink flowers. Again, I'm using some Dollar Tree flowers to make this floral arrangement look beautiful, one of a kind, but also to keep it on a budget. And finally, let's talk about this cute little hat flower arrangement that we made as well. This is in a trifle bowl, and I've got some cute little eggs down here. I have a hat that my daughters have outgrown that I put on one side, and then I've got some beautiful flowers coming out the side. Some of these, the ones in the back, are from the Dollar Tree. So again, I'm using flowers that are cost efficient, but also beautiful. Another great spring item that the Dollar Tree has are these plastic eggs. And if you don't like the color of the eggs that they have, you can always paint them. So I've got this pretty blue egg that has some speckles on it, but you guys, it started out like yellow, like this, a vibrant yellow. I didn't like it, so I just painted it. And I used these little eggs as fillers in a floral arrangement. I added these to a glass vase. And then as you saw, I also had some eggs that were in that hat floral arrangement. Well, those were from the Dollar Tree that had been painted, and they look so beautiful in these arrangements. We are going to use them in a fun napkin folding technique. What you're going to need is a cloth napkin. I'm just going to use a white cloth napkin, and you're going to fold it in half so it looks like a triangle. Now what we're going to do is start to roll it in on itself. You want to start at the pointed end first. So we're just going to take it and kind of roll it, fold it. You want to make sure that it's even going up and that each of the folds is pretty much the same distance from each other. So now we're at this point, we're going to take it, fold it into a U, and bring both of the sides together so it looks like a little circle. Then we're going to take our ribbon. This ribbon is from the Dollar Tree, of course. It's this gorgeous teal ribbon with a gold chevron pattern on it. I'm going to get about a 7 or 8 inch long segment of this ribbon, and I'm just going to tie it into a bow. So now it's in a bow. We've got this little hole right here, which is the perfect size for us to pop in our little Easter egg. And now we've got this adorable little napkin bunny that is going to be so cute on each one of our place settings. Now you could fill these up with some candy so that your guests have a little sweet treat before or after their meal, or you could leave them plain just like I am. There are so many different colors that you could use of eggs and designs. Mine's nice and sparkly, but you could definitely leave yours plain. All you need to do to create this pretty bunny napkin is an egg, a ribbon, and a cloth napkin. By folding the napkin creatively, we now have an adorable bunny napkin design that's perfect for spring. Another item that I absolutely love buying at the Dollar Tree is all of their dishware. They have some fabulous everyday dishware, but they also have some great seasonal dishware. I found these plates that are plastic in the spring section. They came in 3 colors. There was a purple, this pretty coral color, and a teal. I ended up getting the teal and the coral. These are actually pretty sturdy, but they are so cute. So we are actually going to use these in our place setting. So we're going to start off with a gold placemat. I purchased these at Home Goods. So this is going to go down first, and then the Dollar Tree has some great chargers. I use their chargers all of the time. We're going to be using this pink one right now, but in my dining room, I decorated my table for spring, and I used some gold Dollar Tree chargers in there. These look classy. They're such a beautiful backdrop to the plates that I put over the top. And I love that this one's pink. It's got this pretty spring pink color, so it's going to be a great charger to use. And then I'm just going to get a neutral plate. They have plates at the Dollar Tree. This is not from the Dollar Tree, but you can definitely get some of those plain white plates there. That's gonna go over the top of our pink charger. And today we're gonna be using the teal little dessert plate, little salad plate. So that's gonna go right in the center. And then we've got our adorable bunny napkin that's gonna go right in the center. And the reason why I chose this teal ribbon was because I knew I was going to use this teal plate. So using the same color scheme definitely coordinates these two pieces together. Another fabulous item that they have at the Dollar Tree are their glasses. I found these pink glasses that are out right now in the spring section. Again, I use these on my tablescape in my dining room, but they are gonna go perfect with our little mini tablescape that we're gonna create right here on the island. I love the size of these and the color. You don't often see pretty colored glasses that are affordable. So whenever I do see them at the Dollar Tree, I make sure to pick up a couple because not only can we use these for spring, but how cute would these be for a Valentine tablescape or a girls' party, even Mother's Day, which is coming up. These cups would be perfect for a Mother's Day tablescape. I've got my 4 place settings all ready to go. And then in the center, I'm going to add this cute little bunny arrangement from a ceramic bunny from the Dollar Tree. It was in the $5 section. I popped off the top, added a floral arrangement to the center, and then hot glued a pink satin bow to the top. I'm just gonna place this arrangement right here in the center, and this bunny floral arrangement coordinates so cute and so beautifully with our little bunny napkins. What a fun spring tablescape. This was so easy to put together. The place settings are unique and special and would definitely make your guests smile. Of course, this is affordable too. The majority of the items were from the Dollar Tree, which will keep your wallet happy. Cannot talk about our Dollar Tree DIY spring decor without mentioning the Mackenzie dupe topiaries that I made a couple weeks ago. I got these stacking eggs from the Dollar Tree, and what I did was I added some ribbon and some tacks to the bottom egg. I painted some diamonds on the second egg, and then at the top I used some ribbon to create some stripes. For the dividers in the center and the finial on top, I purchased all 3 of these wood items from Hobby Lobby. I spray painted them gold, and then I hot glued them to the topiary. And finally, I put it on top of some beautiful white decorative urns. They look so beautiful in my dining room. And you guys, we saved, I think it was around like $1,950 creating these ourselves, and I love the way that they turned out. So if you want some spring decor, but you do not want to spend a lot of money getting that spring decor, go to the Dollar Tree, you guys. They have got so many fabulous items that you can customize to your own taste, to your own liking, to your own color scheme. They really are a blank slate that you can take advantage of. And at the prices, you really cannot go wrong. So hopefully I gave you plenty of ideas because I know that you'll be able to create something that is amazing, which proves that you can definitely live beautifully. You can do it throughout the year, and you can do it with items from the Dollar Tree. Well, hopefully today you guys, you got some inspiration or some ideas, and we've got plenty more decorating coming up, so make sure you're subscribed so you won't miss out on any of those fun projects. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much for watching.